Hey, it's Aaron, and today I want to talk about the Sunray 109. This is the Sunray Sport 109 model. It's the smallest of Sunray RV's models. It is sleeps 2, has a kitchen, and that's pretty much it. It's got a lot of amenities for a really low price. If you're looking for a small trailer like a teardrop style or something like that, those are super expensive right now. We've been looking for those for a couple of years, and honestly, they're the price of our van. So they're really up there. They're in the 20s most of the time. This, from the factory, this is a 2025 model. This is about 14.5 to 15, depending on some of the options and where you're buying it. So this is a great setup for somebody who's looking for a light trailer. This weighs about 1,600 pounds, give or take, and it has roughly 200 pounds on the tongue. So you can tow this with most small SUVs or minivan, things like that. I've been towing it for this week with this giant Ram 2500. It was way overkill for this, but really neat little RV. I'm going to walk you around it, show you all of the features and all of that, and talk about how something like this works. And then over the coming weeks, I'll show you this in action as a camper, us as a family using it and stuff. Now, there are some modifications on this, so I'll go over those as we get to them. The first of them is the spare tire. Normally, the spare tire is either right here or underneath, depending on how you buy it. So the 2025 models are standard now to be underneath. Otherwise, they'd be mounted right here on a bracket. This one, I believe, was originally mounted right here where that propane bottle is. It was right about there and has been modified. It was moved. The spare tire, when it's back here, it interferes with the spare tire on the back of the Jeep, so they'll hit each other when they're turning. So it's a really common mod for people to move it, usually to the back, because if you put it back there, it takes the weight off of the tongue and cantilevers it behind that axle, which is a win-win all the way around. And it's a pretty easy modification to do. So I'll show photos and stuff when we get to that as to how it works. I'll show it to you on camera, but I'll also intersperse some photos so you can see things up close. Up front here, you can see this is a BG27 battery, so it's 27 watt hours. That is a dealership thing. These don't come with a battery by default because, well, the battery would be dead by the time you got it and probably have lost some of its capacity because of that. So those batteries are usually installed at the dealer. We had several options. We just went with that because we don't need a large battery. We just need enough to run the lights on this thing and to, charge our phones and stuff once in a while. That battery charges off of the vehicle it's plugged into, and then optionally, if you option it, there is a 110 watt solar panel up there, which we have on here, and that will keep that charged easy. Then you can see the propane tank, standard 20 on there. We have several of these, so this is perfect for us because we can easily bring some extra and hook them up as needed. I'll show you why you need it. It's more than just the cooktop that uses it, but really nice to have. And then this is the standard tongue that comes with it, or the standard jack, and you can see it's a quick remove foot. So if you want to put a wheel on there, I think you can actually option that. So there's the wheel down there, and then a 2-inch ball up front to tow it. Whole thing is about 1,600 pounds, and tongue weight is roughly 200 pounds. A little less than that with the tire taken off and moved. So very cool right there. You can tow this with just about anything. That's the whole point of small trailers like this. So yeah, we can tow it with our minivan, you can tow it with a small SUV, all kinds of stuff. I've been towing it the last couple of days with that giant Ram 2500 with a Cummins, which is overkill by far for this. I don't think this is even 10% of its tow capacity. But let's keep going. You see a window here, and then this has a blackout shade on the other side that just pulls down and goes back up. This is the front door. Cool thing about the front door, These decals are aftermarket, so we got this used. We bought this as a used unit. It is a 2025, but somebody bought it to tow with their Jeep, and then after taking it out, they just a couple of times they decided they wanted something a little bigger, so they sold this to the dealership as a trade-in, and we got a smoking deal to buy it. From the factory, without a lot of options, these start at somewhere in the 15,000 range, sometimes a little lower than that, sometimes a little higher, and then with options, other stuff gets added on. So the solar panel is an option, this rooftop tent doesn't come from the factory, that kind of stuff. So anyway, going to the door, one of the things that we liked a lot about this is the fact that it has a separate screen door. Most of the little trailers this size that you get will not have that. We like it because that means you can have the screen door and airflow through to the window over there that opens. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah, and then of course standard RV step, and then we'll get inside a little bit later and talk about what's in there. You have 110 outlets here. They only work when you're plugged into shore power. They do not run off that battery. The only outlet that runs off of the battery in this is the USB charging ports on the inside. Porch light is up here. You can set it to motion sense, or you can use just the light switch in there to turn it on and off. There's also lights on the inside. This is the back side of an AC unit. So the AC, one of the few trailers like this where the AC was actually installed on a tilt, so it drains right under here beautifully. That AC unit, of course, only works when you're plugged into shore power. This is an aftermarket tent. This is a canopy, comes out about 8 feet. We're interested to see how it works out. We're kind of expecting it to not do very well, but we'll see. This is basically Amazon purchase via China. Whoever owned this before installed it. And then you can see the drip veins here. These gutters run all the way along the side to keep the water off from the roof from coming down right here. Then you have lights on the vent. These are also aftermarket. They're cheap. They're about $10 a piece. You can buy them at Walmart or whatever. They're motion sensing lights that solar charge, so they're self-contained. We used to have these on our old house for illumination, for motion sensing. Here they're really cool because if somebody moves around the exterior of your trailer at night, this will pop on and let you know. There's some on the other side as well. So here we are at the back of the trailer. The thing I was talking about down here is a quick connect for gas. So this is plumbed to that gas tank up front. So if you have a grill or something, a griddle, anything like that, you can plug it in right here. The back of the trailer is set up and ready for a Lippert ladder if you need one to get on top. It is a walkable roof on this. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. So, and there is this rack, so you can load things up there. It's common to see these down the road with kayaks and other things on top of them. The rear hatch here opens up pretty simply. And these have been adjusted. So normally, you can see I'm 6'3". Normally these are a little bit lower. They've been adjusted upward so that I can stand underneath it without smacking my head all the time. So this is the kitchen. This is the whole point of this, because for us, we had that Taxa trailer. If you've been watching the channel, you saw that we used that Taxa Outdoors camp kitchen and fell in love with that because we love the idea of having a place where all of our camping stuff just goes instead of some shed that we have to unload all and reload all the time, and a dedicated kitchen at the campsite so you don't have to set all of this up. It just makes life a whole lot easier. So what we're looking at here is, this is a 3-way fridge. So remember I said that gas bottle and we have extras, and why? It's because this fridge will run on battery power, okay. It will run on gas and do really well, and it will run on shore power, so 3-way power. So the recommendation for these is to pre-cool them at home, either with a plug-in, so shore power, or with the gas. And then once you go on the road, switch this over to battery to maintain and drive it to your destination. Once you're at your destination, switch it back over to gas or shore power, depending on what you have. The reason for that is it's kind of dangerous to run this. It has a burner and, you know, it's fire. So you want to not have the gas flowing. Actually, this doesn't have it doesn't matter. You don't want the gas flowing while you're driving. That is how you start a fire. It's happened. I've seen photos. A lot of places, especially in Canada, it's illegal to do that. So just to keep an eye on that. This fridge is pretty decent size, 4 cubic feet, little bitty freezer in the top that probably won't keep your popsicles or ice cream from melting, but it will keep really cold things cold. The recommendation is just shove frozen things in there and then let them thaw out as you get there, as it warms up. It has a microwave, which again only works on solar or on shore power. So we're probably going to delete this. We'll probably pull this out. We're not really sold on having a microwave at the campsite. We don't think we need it. And we're not going to be plugged in that often. So this is just extra storage space otherwise. The fascia goes all the way around, so we can just make shelving behind it. Then you have some storage cabinets. You can see here. This is still empty. We haven't set it up for camping. We're going this weekend, so I'll make sure you get photos. Then you have a sink. The sink has hot and cold water. There is a water heater on this, 6 gallon, and then the regular water is 16 gallons. And then you have some storage underneath and a cutting board that goes on top of the sink when you need it. And then you have a 2-burner stove right here. Again, I'll do some close-up photos, show you all this stuff. The stove is lit, so you can turn it on so you can see the controls at night. We like it because the older models of these had these up near a burner, and I hate that idea. Then you have some 120 outlets. Again, they only work on shore power. This is the water pump for the water. This is the water, or the lights in here that turn on. There's one under there and one up there. And those are individual as well. You can touch tap them. And then this turns the water heater on. So that's kind of the kitchenette. This backsplash was added. Otherwise, this is all stock. So as you can see, pretty well outfitted little kitchen. It's really neat. This was, for us, the top selling point for this trailer. This opens up like this, and some people are putting canopies over them or having a wraparound canopy on the top. One of the things I thought was we're probably going to use it like this most of the time without anything attached to it. And so I thought one of those suitcase solar panels, just throw it across this while it's open and charge some phones or hook it up to charge some other things. So might be a useful idea. The sink here drains out the side. I'll show you where that drain is. And otherwise, this is the kitchen you're looking at. The 3-way fridge was a big point for us. That was, I really like that. And then having the dedicated burner, and the water honestly was just a bonus for us. We're used to working out of a 5-gallon jug with a spigot, but this is a super bonus for us. Also the outdoor shower, which I'll show you here in a minute. All right, so now you can get a little better idea where that spare tire is up here. It's a pretty simple move, and to put it up here, because you already have this, all it was is a standard spare tire mount on some square stock, and then that is bolted to this with some U-bolts, and the other side of those U-bolts is just a piece of steel pipe to go around. I'm considering extending that pipe, replacing it with a long one that goes out here and using it for fishing pole storage because it could double duty. Anyway, more of those lights I was talking about, these aftermarket. These things are awesome and they're super cheap. Highly recommend getting them. And then if they break or they get lost or something like that, it's no big deal. You just go to Walmart, get another one. They're cheap. Anyway, water heater right here, and this is the hot exhaust for that, so keep track. This is the sink drain, so where the sink drains when you run the water in it. This is a standard garden hose fitting, so you can run a hose to somewhere or a 5-gallon bucket, whatever you want to use. But we're probably going to bucket for a little while, and then I have a length of hose that I use to water the chickens that I might bring with us or get something like that. similar, so that we can run it just like kind of into the trees or something if we're close to that, so we can just drain the gray water. We use environmentally friendly soaps, so I'm not worried about that. This is a water fillers, so you have your freshwater connection for filling right here. So this is where you fill it up from. I got one of those little plastic things just to make it a little easier to hold the jug up and get it in there. There is nothing that indicates when it's full, so you just do the motorcycle method and just squirt it in there until it starts coming back at you and you're done. This is the regular water connection, so if you happen to be at a place with RV hookups, you can plug water in here. This is rated to, I believe it's 150 PSI, so high pressure water is probably not going to hurt it. I would try to stay in the regular city water range, which I think is 40. You can also get one of those regulators to attach to your hose. Also very much recommend that you get a dedicated water hose for this that's treated, so you don't get that weird rubber hose taste going on and stored in there. And then winterizing is a whole nother subject. I'm not even going to get started. Cable TV hookup if again you're at an RV and you happen to have a TV. This does not. This is the shower, so I'll just unlock it and show you. First I gotta get the key to go in. There you go. So standard small shower head, you can replace it as you need, and then hot and cold water. We're not going to set up a dedicated shower tent like a lot of people with these do. When we go camping at a place, you got to get it exactly right in order for this to turn. So it's got to be in just the right sweet spot to lock. Damn it, come on. The hose is in the way. There we go. Anyway, we don't tend to long-term camp like that as boondockers. We tend to go to smaller spaces for 2, 3, maybe 4 days. And, you know, we can use this to wash our feet off before we go to bed, wash our hair once in a while, maybe take a, quick pit stink fix, that kind of stuff. And we're not planning on doing a full strip down and bathe kind of shower. But if you do, it's pretty easy to set up a shower tent for that. This is storage right here, which I think is open. No, at least it's unlocked. And a little latch, so there's your storage catch. Right now I've just got some miscellaneous things thrown in here. I've got a water hose that's going to be dedicated for that. This is a converter to run from 110 from the house to the big plug on here. This is a 30 amp. And my trailer hitch stuff, because I had to take it off of that truck. If you've noticed, the background changed. They just came and took the Ram that I had and brought me a GMC Terrain, which I believe will be able to tow this. So we'll find out, because we're going to probably take that camping. This is the cord that comes with the unit. They used to have a pull-out, and it was such a pain back and forth, that they switched over to just a plug like that and a cord that you can store away. There is a light in here on this side. Otherwise, it's a pretty good-sized toolbox. We're mostly going to use it to keep the tools that go with the trailer. It's not quite big enough to get a full 20-pounder propane, but if you get the little 5 or 10s, those will fit in here just fine. If you really want to, I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend another thing that we're probably going to do for modification on this is I'm going to put a coating on this of some kind. I'm either going to spray coat a bed liner or put some steel or something, stainless steel. The reason being that these commonly will get pitted and beat up, and then they start to rust, and they rust really fast when that starts. So I'm thinking about lifting each side, taking the tire off, and totally powder or bedline coating or something to protect from that on these, because I don't want that to happen. The other thing we're thinking about doing is, after we've used it a few times, we'll know, but I may put 1 or 2 leveling jacks on here just so that it stays a little more steady. We're going to feel it out. I think it will be fine the way it is, but I'm kind of wondering if it will So we'll see if we end up needing to do that. I'm thinking they're mostly going to be up here in the front, and the tongue comes all the way back to here, so it's pretty easy to attach something like that. Which I didn't show you the interior, so I guess I shouldn't be wrapping up. Yeah. I don't plan these videos out. I probably should. I'd be way more professional, right? All right, let's go look at the inside. All right, in order to do this, I'm gonna have to hold the camera by hand. I don't have a way to do this otherwise. On this side where the curve is, I cannot sit up straight. On that side where the camera is, I can. So I'll swap the camera over and show you that. It's really hot in here, so I'm gonna start sweating because it is well over 90 degrees inside here according to the thermometer. But I want to show you the interior stuff, and I'm not going to turn everything on and make a bunch of noise to do that. So it's hard to get the camera in a spot where I can do a frame like this. So on this side of the couch, I can sit up straight and my head is just touching. This is basically, we're looking at the interior here. The AC unit here, which again only runs on shore power. Storage right here. These are added, but they're a super good idea. These kind of leather pouches. Your TV would mount here. So this is, when you get this from the factory, it'll have a sticker here that says this is where the TV goes. So you can mount a TV here, or you can mount it from up here. There is a socket right here where you can put an RV TV mount and hang your TV down. I don't know that I would recommend that, but you know, go nuts. Here's the cable from out there. The cable comes into this part right here, and a couple of convenient 110 outlets to plug that stuff into. There's more outlets on the floor. There's a fire extinguisher. These two lights turn on from a switch right here, and then you can turn them on and off with a button up here. That's a pretty cool setup. They're super bright, so we actually have that one turned off permanently. Well, we didn't unplug it or anything, but we've turned it off, planning on never turning it on. Most people would assume they would sleep with their head that way and their feet over here. We are gonna sleep the other direction. The only impediment to that is this. So you see the thermostat right there, may or may not be hitting heads on it. So we'll see how that works out. We may swap around. When this bed pulls out, I'll pull it out and show you that. I'll just do some pictures. When this bed pulls out, the cushions that is sitting on, so this that you're seeing right here, there's another one behind it. These all lay flat, and you have what is a RV queen size bed. So it's slightly larger than a twin, but not as big as a real queen bed. There's a window right here with a shade, and a window right there with a shade. I'm mostly just going to show you pictures of this stuff. There is just out of frame there is a smoke detector, and then underneath the bed, again I'll show you photos, is a CO2 / propane detector, and in case there's a leak in the system that's coming into the camper, and then the battery control unit, which again pictures, and then a heater. That's a propane heater, heats this up very quickly. We're pretty excited for that because that will extend our camping season. It will mean that we can start camping earlier in the year, and we can keep camping later in the year. So we've camped in the rough. So we've tent camped here in Wyoming. We have tent camped up to maybe October, but you're starting to get super cold. It's freezing overnight every night. So it's starting to get very, very cold at that point. So not highly recommended. Last year when we had the woolly bear, it was late September, I believe. So about a month from where we are right now. And it froze overnight. There was frost on everything in the morning. This will allow us to extend that camping season a little bit. And also it will allow us to get out there a little bit earlier so we can get, before there's reservations which get booked up at some of the really nearby places. They book up fast because all the I won't call them names, but people from Colorado come up and take all those spots immediately. That was the biggest downside for COVID. about COVID here in Wyoming was, I mean, the economics sucked and all of that, but the real downside was that people in Colorado, because everything shut down there, they discovered Wyoming spots and started hogging them all up, and now they keep doing it. So you go to like Kurt Gowdy or one of these places and half the vehicles there will have Colorado plates. It's makes me unhappy. Anyway, so that's kind of the total walkthrough there. I think that's the whole thing, and my little rant about Coloradans and whatever else. Yeah, that's the Sunray 109. It's the smallest of the Sunray RVs. Really, really nice, really cool, really like it. Not cool right now, it's over 90 degrees in here, but this, we're hoping, is going to be the perfect solution for us until our teenagers are out of the house, and then we'll see what we decide to do. Right now we have just 3 or 4 more years, that's it. And we have about 4 years until our youngest turns 18. So we're right on the cusp, but we want to get those camping memories. And my wife and I decided on this last camping trip we just did last week, we driving home, we were like, that is the last time I'm sleeping on the ground. Holy crap. You know, over 50, that's what happens. Anyway, that's it. That's our Sunray 109. All the tech specs and whatnots. And then, as I said, I will keep updates as we use it. I'll shoot some little shorts and other things and keep you guys updated on this. I'll probably just use the Sunray 109 hashtag. So, yeah. All right. This has been Aaron. Talk to you again soon.